Hi everybody, it's Claire back with another art journal video. This one is a bit exciting because I am sharing with you my new release from Funky Fossil. So this is my release for March 2023. And in this release there are lots of collage papers and a pack of brightly coloured paper, two stencils and a stamp set as well. And in this video I'm going to share with you a little book that I created using some of the patterned paper. So this pad that I'm playing with here is an 8-inch square pad, and it's quite a nice weight of card, and it's lovely for using for this purpose. So I've taken some pieces of it, folded it in half, and in half again I'm going to create a little book. I'm going to be sticking the folded halves together just to give the pages some strength, and then I'm going to sew round each of them on my sewing machine and also sew down the spine to bind them together. So these collage pack books that you can get, one is a collage paper, one is a lighter weight paper, and this other one is just like a stronger weight of paper, I guess. There are 10 designs that you get in the pack, 3 of each design, and these ones really are bright and happy and colourful. So hopefully they will inspire you to create some bold, bright, wonderful things. So yeah, like here I'm just sewing round each of the pages using my sewing machine, and then, like I say, just sewing down the spine as well. Then I'm just using my crocodile just to round the corners of my pages, because I just think that looks really nice with the rounded corners. It's a nice way to finish it off. And then I'm going to start creating some pages in this little book. So I'm hoping that I can kind of show you some of the products that are being released this time. So this is a stencil. It's called Bee Leaf, and it is exactly what it says. It's a leaf stencil. So it's great for just adding in some background and pattern. These leaf shapes would be great for doodling into if you wanted to, or like I say, just creating some detail on your background. So here on this little page on my book, I'm just going in with some white paint through the stencil and just to push a little bit of that background further away. So this stamp that I'm using here is from the Grow Positive stamp set. It's an A5 stamp set, clear stamps, and you can see here that the leaves have got some text in them. So it's a really lovely way to create a bit of interest with your stamping. So here I've stamped it onto some printer paper, cut it out, and with my little clear glue I'm just going to stick that onto the front of my book. And then I have grabbed one of the papers from the collage paper pack, and I've just chosen some words to just stick on the front. So you'll know that some of the papers in this pack, you'll notice when you get hold of it, if you order it, that there are pages with text on and pages with patterns and colour on as well. So there's a bit of a mix of the two. And then I'm using my dotty stamp from the Journal Mark stamp set, which was from a previous release, just to add some mark making onto that front page. Okay, so now I'm going into the centre of the book, and I am using the big foliage stencil and mask. I'm using the mask part of that with some black paint, and I am masking over this leaf shape, this leaf botanical stem shape, that I'll call it that. And just holding it still while I mask over the top of it. So this is a really great technique, and as you know, it's one that I really love to use. I love the way that it kind of focuses your eye in on the colour on your page, and kind of creates those calm areas, doesn't it, where the masking is, and lets those other colours peep through. So this is a great value stencil and mask, because not only do you get the stencil, but you get the masks as well. So you get the positive and the negative images, and you can use both. You can use them together as well. So it's really good value, that one, for your money. So here I've just masked those 2 images onto there, And then I am stamping out one of the phrases from the Grow Positive stamp set again onto printer paper. So this is my handwriting. I've done this with some just a really cool font that I really like, and really pleased with how this one has come out actually. I really like this font. So here I've just cut up the quote so that it'll fit into my little book, and then I am using a Signo Uniball in white, and I'm just outlining those botanical stems that I've masked onto the page. So you can see here, like, it's this really simple technique using that collage paper on the background, and I've created quite a striking page really easily. So yeah, that's quite an easy way to create a really striking journal page. And then of course I'm going in with my dotty stamp. This time I'm using some white paint on there, and I'm just breaking up some of those very dark areas. Okay, so now I am using another piece of collage paper, and again using some words from this one, and just cutting them out so that they will fit onto my page. And then I've stuck them in place, and I've also used a stamp again from the Grow Positive stamp set, and this time I've cut it in half, and I've also just used some of the little offcuts just to stick around the page too. And then again using that dot technique just to break up the background a little bit, but this time I'm using a Posca pen to do that. So this is a really fun way to sort of have a play with all my new release, just to do it in this little tiny book format, using the collage papers as my page background, so I don't really have to think about those at all. So here I've stamped the stamp on straight into my book, and you can see in the middle bit it didn't really stamp through quite well, but because this is a clear stamp, it's very easy to line it back up and go back in and stamp again with it. Because of the way the font is as well, it doesn't absolutely matter if it's not bang in place where you absolutely want it to be, because the font is lots and lots of little lines overlapping. So here I'm using lots of the text stamps from the Grow Positive stamp set just to add some text onto my background. I'm stamping those on all over using black archival ink. And then this is another piece of collage from the the Bright Botanicals collage pack, and one of the pages in there has got bright rainbows on it, so I'm just selecting one of the rainbows and I'm going to stick it onto this page. And then once I've stuck it on, I did do a bit of outlining with it too. Again, I'm going in with my dotty stamp. I do actually come back to this page and add a couple more details on there. So now I'm using the stencil part of the big foliage stencil and mask, and this time I'm going into the stencil with some black paint on the blending tool and just adding some stenciling onto there. So the reason the black works quite nicely is it's a great contrast with the bright colours on the background, and it kind of draws your attention in, draws the eye into the stenciled leaf shapes. So I'm just popping a couple of those down in that right hand corner, and then of course I'm going to put some on the other side just to balance up the page. And And you know, you can flip the stencil over to get the leaves to face in a different way as well. I guess the only thing you need to be careful of if you do that is if you've used the stencil up the other way and the paint is still damp, you will get a little bit of printing around where you did the stenciling previously. Okay, so then I decided I would just hold that stencil in place, get a bit of white onto my dotty stamp and stamp through the stencil just to create some pattern on that stencil area. And you'll see that works quite well when I lift that up. You can see it contains the dots within the stenciled shapes. And again, don't forget to clean your stamps if you're going to use acrylic paint with them. So otherwise you'll find that they won't work as effectively. So here I've gone back to the previous page and have I'm just sticking in a couple of little rainbows onto this page as well. So next I'm using one of the faces from the Soulful stamp set. This is from a previous release. Just going to use that as a focal point on this page. Stamped that onto some white printer paper. I'm going to use my glue stick to stick that down. That looks really weird, doesn't it? I've actually stamped it onto the back of another one that I wasn't going to use. That's why you can see another face on that, on the reverse of that. And then just working out where that needs to go so that the page will work. Giving it some little pink cheeks, and then I'm going to be stamping some words onto my page as well. Stamping them directly into the book. And then I'm using a journal marks stamp from the Journal Marks stamp set. Definitely got some of these available on my website. And here I'm just using some pink ink with them. And this is another of the stamps from that set as well. So I'm just introducing a bit of mark making onto the page too. So next I'm moving on to another page in this little mini book that I've created using my collage papers. And I'm using the Wonky Heart stencil, a little bit of black paint again. It's working as quite a nice contrast with those bright colours. And I'm just adding those hearts onto the right hand corner at the bottom. Then I'm going in with a text stamp and I'm just overlapping that with some of the hearts as well, just to bring some text onto the page. And I'm stamping them over the top of the stenciling. Oh, sorry about that, a bit wobble there. I probably headbutted my camera while I was shuffling my chair in. So then I have cut out some botanical leaf shapes from the Heartfelt collage paper pack and stuck those onto my page using some glue, my clear glue. And just over, I've sort of left them kind of hanging off the edge of the page and then just trimmed them to shape. And then here I'm using again a face from the Soulful stamp set. I'm going to stick her in place, and then I use some Neocolor 2s and scribble sticks just to add some colour onto the page. So I've coloured in the leaves and her face and hair. And here I'm just doing the You Do You stamp from a previous stamp set. And that's from the It's Okay stamp set. Yeah, I couldn't remember what that one was called. Yeah, so that's another different page in this little mini book that I've created. So you can see lots of different ways that you can use these collage papers, and you can create lots and lots of different looks with them as well. And the fact that there's 2 packs of different weighted paper, one that's a nice thin weight for adding as collage paper onto your backgrounds, and one that is perfect for creating little books like this and adding pages into books. And you could even use them to create tags as well if you were to stick them back to back. This is a really fun way to create a little mini book with these ready-made backgrounds which are bright and colourful. So go to my website, artjournallove.com. You can pre-order these goodies from Thursday the 16th of March. So thanks for watching. I hope you found some inspiration, and I hope to see you again soon.